Okay guys, so one of the biggest questions I get asked on a lot of my videos, because I probably have more videos on Esker, Hayduke, and Japhy than anybody out there, is which frame do I get, the Hayduke or the Japhy? And mostly for people that want to build up a geared bike, but occasionally single speed. So I'm going to tell you the really minor differences between the two, okay? So let's start with the overall frame weight. The frame weight is going to be lighter on the Japhy. You can email Esker and ask him, but the difference is the frame has less material. The Japhy's frame, the chain stays do not spread out as much, or the seat stay and chain stay, they're shorter, so there's just less material in the rear triangle. As the Hayduke is able to accommodate bigger tires, both 275 plus and 29, and they're longer chain stays, and the seat stays flare out more. So if you're thinking about tire clearance and want something that's going to clear big tires, these are obviously pretty big tires. They're 29 by 2.6 Kessel on those I-40 rims. Actually, I was going to show you a 3-inch tire. I'm able to fit a 3-inch tire just barely with that Fox fork, but if I had a rigid fork, I would do a 3-inch tire all day. So that's the difference between the frame and the clearance and everything like that with the two frames. The Japhy is lighter. The Hayduke is just a little bit heavier, but has more clearance for a rear wheel, okay, for bigger tires in the rear. Longer stays, whatever you want to make of longer stays. Some people want real short stays. Some people are fine with a longer stay, but longer stays do make a bike feel more planted and stable going down really steep and long descents, whereas a shorter stay makes a bike easier to pop off stuff, a little snappier and easier to manual and stuff like that. So that's the difference between the two frames as far as weight and tire clearance. Now let's talk about seat tube angle. The Japhy has progressed even more, and it's got a more upright seat tube angle. So if you want something that's going to sprint up hills faster, and you feel like you can sit and spin, and you want that steeper seat tube angle, the Japhy is the one for you. The Esker stayed a little more traditional with the regular seat tube angle, 74, 75, I'm not exactly sure, but it's a slacker seat tube angle, is not made to be that aggressive climber. It's made to be a little more relaxed. And that's also noticeable with the stack height. The stack height on the Hayduke is higher. It's higher than the Japhy. If you notice, I put riser bars on my Japhy that come up 30 millimeter rise as opposed to 15 millimeter rise, just to kind of have them at the same level and more identical. But the stack height is noticeably and significantly higher on the Hayduke. So if you like that more upright feel, the stack height is higher on the Hayduke. If you want a racier, little bit lower stack height feel, then that's the Japhy. Then it goes to the head tube angle. Head tube angle, sorry, my hands are dirty. The head tube angle is a 1.5 degrees slacker on the Japhy. This is a 67.5 head tube angle. This is a 66. The bigger difference is, it's sag. They do it sag, so it's 30% sag on that fork. So if you're doing, you're really wanting to get something and you feel like a longer fork. Of course, they have the Smoky now, but if you feel like you want to do, I did a longer fork on my Hayduke. That's a 130 millimeter. This is a 120 millimeter. And the reason I did that, again, it kind of brought them closer together as far as feel. I really wanted the same feel as a single speed as I have on my gear bike. This was my first purchase from Esker, and this was their very first year of making that Hayduke. And this was their very first year of making that Japhy. And the biggest reason I got into this company is because I wanted the quad-butted steel tubing. I really felt that a quad-butted tubing meant something. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe you guys that have really high-end Dedicati or Reynolds or some of those True Temper frames that are from the past and had these really really nice double-butted tubing steel frames that feel like magic, then good for you. I didn't feel that my Reynolds double-butted frame with the Reynolds 853 felt as good as this one, and perhaps that's just me, and that's also a combination of running bigger tires and everything else that factor into that. So back to the differences. So I think if you're going to build something that you want to race and want to go a little bit faster, and maybe, yeah, it's not going to be a lightweight carbon or aluminum XC hardtail, but I would go with the Japhy. If you want something that's more relaxed and and plus you're going to get the extra pack mounts. The new ones have the pack mounts up here. All of them have the inner triangle mounts and the down tube mounts the same, but the new Hayduke has mounts up here and also mounts on the fork. So the new Hayduke is made a little more bike packing friendly if you want multiple mounts. The Japhy does not have the mount on the top tube. Also, the Hayduke is going to give you a little more room in the triangle. The seat tube is a little bit longer on the Hayduke than the Japhy. The seat tube is going to be shorter. So those are the big differences I would consider. Who each frame is for, it really depends on what you're going to use it for. Like I said, my fastest times going down single track is on my Japhy, and that has a little bit to do with the fact that I have to just pin it because it's a single speed and I have to keep my speed, whereas on my Hayduke, when I'm going down a single track, I'm able to use whatever gear and just stay in that gear, or gear up and gear down as I'm pulling away from the switchback and stuff like that. So it's a little bit less and then when I'm going uphill, I can gear down and gear it down, whereas this, I just have to mosh it going up the hill. So it's also how I ride each one too that makes it faster on my Japhy. But I feel like the Japhy could be used as a cross-country race bike, whereas the Hayduke would probably be my last choice out of the two for a cross-country type of race bike. If I was going to make a bike that's more for all-day comfort and for using big 29 by 3 inch tires or 29 by 2.8 inch tires, and I wanted to pack it down, I would use that. If I wanted to use bigger tires and wanted to go fast, I would actually use this. So again, I guess I'm kind of making the water muddy, but I think it's really up to you. And then weight does matter. I really am a big believer in weight. If you want to make something super light but make it steel, or you want to make something super light and you want to get the Thai version, get the Thai Japhy. If that's not, the weight is not the concern, and you want the versatility and want to be switching back and forth to 2.7 plus tires, get the Hayduke. I think you can do 2.7 tires on the Japhy, but I haven't really read about it or seen anybody. This is the only bike I do 275 plus tires on. I've never done it on the Japhy, mainly because I wouldn't do 275 plus on a single speed. I prefer 29er. I just feel it's more associated with the whole point of keeping momentum, and single speed would be with a bigger wheel, but that's just me. Anyway, I'm not going to get into that, nor am I going to ever get into the 32 inch tires. It's just, the market's all over the place. They're trying to make all these micro niches. So you want a traditional hardtail, take a look at this company, Esker. They do some amazing things. I really want to keep these guys in business. I really think that they are trying to appeal to the true mountain biker, true cyclist. They have gravel bikes now too. They even have a clunker. Looks interesting. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll talk to you later.